All right, so picture this. You're at a huge event in Bucharest, like thousands of people, and everyone's talking about clean energy.
Sounds pretty exciting.
Oh, it was. It was CISOLAR and Green Battery 2024. And Southeastern Europe's clean energy scene is seriously taking off, and we're going to break down what went down there, what it means for the future of renewables.
What I found really interesting was that CISOLAR wasn't just about these big trends. It was also like getting into the weeds, the really specific challenges and opportunities that are happening in the market like right now. And that's what we're going to unpack in this deep dive.
For sure. Let's start with Romania itself.
Yeah.
They're seeing some massive growth in renewable energy, like especially solar. They've already got 5 GW of total renewable capacity. Solar's a big chunk of that 1.4 GW. And get this, they're aiming for 3.5 GW of solar by 2030.
Wow, that's a big jump.
Yeah, it's ambitious.
It is ambitious, but it's also definitely achievable. One of the things driving this growth is Romania's commitment to the EU's Green Deal, which says that 30.7% of the EU's energy has got to come from renewables by 2030. So this policy is creating a good environment for investment and development, and we're seeing that reflected in those numbers.
It's crazy how policy can ripple out and affect everything.
Yeah, for sure.
But getting solar farms built takes more than just policy goals, right?
Exactly. That's where PPAs come in power purchase agreements. These long-term contracts between energy producers and buyers, they're super important to make sure projects aren't too risky and to attract investors. And there's this real push to get a strong PPA framework in place in Romania.
Makes sense. You're a solar developer. You want to build this massive solar farm. You need PPA, so you've got a buyer for your energy at a certain price.
Exactly. And that's what Vitaly Davies, CEO of IBCenter, was saying at CISOLAR. He was saying we need clear PPA regulations to get Romania's solar market to really take off.
I see. So without that certainty, investors are going to be hesitant.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not just about attracting those international investors. PPAs also help local communities benefit from these projects. So you could have a PPA that allows a town or city to buy clean energy from a nearby solar farm at a cheaper rate.
Oh, so that reduces their costs and supports the local economy.
Exactly. It's not just these abstract financial things. It's about bringing clean energy to communities.
It's like clean and affordable energy for everyone.
Yeah, that's a theme throughout the whole clean energy sector, creating solutions that help the environment and people.
Okay, so speaking of solutions, let's talk tech. There were 54 exhibitors showing off some incredible technology, like cutting-edge solar panels to advanced battery systems. It felt like the future of clean energy.
It was a showcase of innovation for sure. And one company that stood out was Jinko ESS. They're big in the battery storage world. They were showing off their latest battery systems that can be used for anything from powering homes to grid-scale applications.
So they're kind of like the Tesla of batteries, always pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And there were others, too, showing off new battery tech, like flow batteries, which are perfect for storing large amounts of energy.
Flow batteries. I'm not familiar with those.
Okay, so imagine a battery where you've got liquid electrolytes, and they get pumped through a system. That's a flow battery. They last longer than your typical lithium-ion batteries and can be scaled up to huge sizes.
So they're like the power lifters helping to keep the grid stable, even when you've got solar and wind, which aren't always consistent.
Exactly. And we're seeing more interest in flow batteries as utilities are trying to figure out how to add more renewables to the grid.
That makes sense. It's all about finding solutions to the challenges of going green.
Right. So solar was all about showing off the policies and the partnerships that are driving this massive change in the energy sector.
Speaking of partnerships, there was a lot of talk about collaboration at CISOLAR. It seemed like everyone was saying we need to work together to reach these ambitious clean energy goals.
Absolutely. No one can do this alone. We've got to break down the walls between groups, share what we know, and pool our resources to overcome challenges and speed up the transition to clean energy.
It felt like collaboration was a major theme at CISOLAR. Bianca Drageson from Kino Energy said something that stuck with me. She said, "We need to create an ecosystem where everyone involved in the renewable energy sector can work together smoothly."
And it's not just talk. We're seeing real-life examples of this happening. There's this growing trend of regional energy partnerships, where countries are working together on cross-border renewable projects and sharing grid infrastructure.
So they're realizing it's not about competition. It's about working together to benefit everyone.
Exactly. And these partnerships are key to overcoming some of the toughest challenges, like regulatory hurdles, financing issues, and problems with grid integration.
Okay, so it's not just building a solar farm here and there. It's about bringing all these pieces together.
Precisely. And that's what CISOLAR Green Battery 2024 was all about. It wasn't just a trade show. It was a place for people to come together, share ideas, and make connections that will shape the future of clean energy.
So CISOLAR was like the birthplace for the next wave of innovation and collaboration in renewables.
Exactly. And this is just the beginning. There's so much more to unpack from CISOLAR, so many more fascinating insights to share, but we'll have to save that for the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with part 2, where we'll go deeper into the challenges, the opportunities, and the innovations that are shaping the future of clean energy in Southeastern Europe.
So we were just talking about how important collaboration is.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about the other side of that. What are some of the big roadblocks in the way of clean energy?
That's a great question, and it came up a lot at CISOLAR. I think one of the biggest challenges is just uncertainty around regulation.
Yeah.
A lot of countries are still figuring out clear policies for renewable energy.
Wow. And that makes it tough for investors and developers to, plan and finance projects.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like trying to build something without instructions. You need that solid base of stable policies.
Exactly. Another big hurdle is financing. Big renewable energy projects need a ton of money up front, and getting that financing can be really complicated, especially in these newer markets.
And we talked about grid infrastructure, too. You can build all the solar farms in the world, but if you can't get that clean energy onto the grid, it's not going to help.
Right. A lot of countries in Southeastern Europe are still using old grid infrastructure that wasn't built to handle all this new renewable energy. So upgrading and expanding the grid is super important.
So it's not just about the energy itself, it's about the systems that support it.
Exactly. And it's tricky. It takes coordination between governments and utilities and private companies.
It sounds like a lot of work. But CISOLAR didn't feel like a negative event.
No, not at all. Even with the challenges, there was this feeling of optimism and determination. People are excited about what clean energy can do for the region, and they're actively working to find solutions.
So are there any specific examples of how they're tackling these challenges?
Yeah, definitely. One example is they're using new and creative ways to get financing, like green bonds and crowdfunding.
So it's about being resourceful and finding new ways to fund these projects.
Exactly. We're also seeing progress on the regulatory side. Some countries in the region have introduced new policies that make it easier to get permits for renewable energy projects, and that gives investors more confidence.
Okay, so things are moving in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what makes this such an exciting time to be involved in clean energy.
Okay, let's talk about the benefits then. What does Southeastern Europe gain from embracing renewables?
Well, one of the biggest benefits is energy independence. Right now, a lot of these countries rely heavily on imported fossil fuels.
Okay.
And that makes them vulnerable to price changes and global politics.
So if they develop their own renewable energy sources, they're in control.
Exactly. And this shift towards energy independence could have huge benefits for the economy. It could attract new investments, create jobs in the clean energy sector, and boost local manufacturing.
And of course, we can't forget about the environment. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions is essential to fighting climate change. And Southeastern Europe can be a leader in that.
Absolutely. Switching to renewables will significantly reduce the region's carbon footprint. We'll see cleaner air, healthier ecosystems, a more sustainable future for everyone.
It's a win-win for the economy and the environment.
It really is. And that's why events like CISOLAR are so important. They bring together the people, the ideas, and the resources to make this happen.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, the opportunities, the benefits. Now, let's talk about innovation.
Yeah.
I love talking about new tech. What are some of the technologies and trends shaping the future of clean energy?
So we already talked a bit about batteries. What else stood out to you?
Yeah, we did.
Well, one of the most exciting things is the development of smart grids. They're essential for managing a grid that's powered by renewables.
So smart grids are like the control center for the electricity system. They use sensors and data to make sure everything runs smoothly.
Exactly. And they're getting even smarter now. Some smart grids can even anticipate changes in renewable energy production and adjust the flow of electricity to keep the grid stable.
So they're like traffic control for electricity, making sure everything flows smoothly, even when there's a lot going on.
Perfect analogy. And these smart grids are key to being able to add more renewables to the existing grid.
What about solar panel tech itself? Were there any big advancements there?
There were. One really cool development is perovskite solar cells. They could be more efficient and cheaper to produce than traditional silicon solar panels.
Perovskite solar cells, those are new to me. Can you explain a little more?
Yeah, so they use a material called perovskite to capture sunlight and turn it into electricity. And they've got some advantages over conventional solar cells. They're more efficient, they cost less to manufacture, and you can print them onto flexible surfaces.
Wow. So we could see them on everything from rooftops to clothing.
Exactly. And that's why they're so promising. They
Yeah.
completely change how we get solar energy, making it more accessible and affordable.
Speaking of accessibility, what about electric vehicles? They're a big part of this clean energy transition too, right?
Absolutely. Electric vehicles, or EVs, are crucial. They help us move away from fossil fuels, and they can actually help balance the grid.
Right, because they're like batteries on wheels.
Yeah.
They can store energy when demand is low and send it back to the grid when it's needed.
Exactly. And at CISOLAR, we saw companies showing off new EV charging solutions, like fast charging stations that can charge a car in minutes, and smart charging systems that help minimize strain on the grid.
It's amazing to see how all this tech is coming together to create a clean energy ecosystem.
It really is. And it's driving a ton of innovation that's changing how we produce, use, and consume energy.
CISOLAR really showed the potential of clean energy to build a brighter future.
It did, and it showed how important innovation, collaboration, and policy are for making this transition happen.
It's not just about the tech, it's about the whole system that supports it.
Exactly. CISOLAR gave us a glimpse of that system, all the companies and organizations and people working together to make clean energy a reality.
It sounds like a really inspiring event.
It was, and it left me feeling really optimistic about the future of clean energy.
We've covered a lot in this part: challenges, opportunities, benefits, innovations.
And in the last part, we're going to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. What does all of this mean for you, the listener? How can you be part of this clean energy revolution? Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll explore those questions and more.
Okay, so welcome back to the final part of our CISOLAR deep dive. We've talked about so much, like all the details about solar panels and batteries and smart grids, but it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's true. At the end of the day, it's about people. How is all this tech going to impact our lives, and how do we make a better future for everyone?
Exactly. So let's zoom out a bit. What does this transition to clean energy mean for you, the listener? Like, why should you even care about what's happening with energy in Southeastern Europe?
Well, I mean, it's about making the planet cleaner and healthier, right? We all share this planet, and moving to renewable energy is essential for dealing with climate change and protecting the environment for the next generation.
For sure. And it's not just about the environment in the abstract, right? It's about making life better for people right here, right now.
Exactly. Think about the air we breathe. In many cities in Southeastern Europe, air pollution is a big problem. It causes respiratory illnesses and other health problems. Switching to clean energy like solar and wind can make a huge difference in air quality.
So it's like we can breathe easier, literally.
Exactly. And it's also about building a more sustainable economy that can bounce back from challenges. The clean energy sector is creating jobs, bringing in investment, and driving innovation. This can lead to economic growth, energy independence, and a more secure energy future.
It's like this positive chain reaction, right?
Yeah.
Investing in clean energy has so many good side effects for individuals, communities, and the whole region.
Exactly. And it's not just about waiting for governments and big companies to do it.
Yeah.
You as an individual can be a part of this change.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So how can we get involved? What are some things we can actually do to make a difference?
There are so many ways. First, be aware of how much energy you use. Make little changes at home and work, like switching to those energy-saving light bulbs.
Those small things do add up.
They totally do. And if you can afford it, think about getting renewable energy for your home.
Okay.
Putting solar panels on your roof can reduce your reliance on the regular grid and save you money on your energy bills.
Yeah, I've always thought about doing that. It feels good to generate your own clean energy.
It is empowering. You can also support policies that help clean energy by contacting your elected officials and telling them that you want them to make the switch to renewables.
Yeah, we have a voice. We can make a difference by letting our leaders know that we support a clean energy future.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate the power of just talking about it. Yeah. Talk to your friends and family about the benefits of clean energy. The more people who know about it, the more we can push for change.
It's about starting conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sharing what we've learned and getting others excited about taking action.
Exactly. Every little bit counts.
Okay, so before we finish up this CISOLAR deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
I want to touch on something we talked about before, the idea of countries working together.
Right.
We talk about how countries in Southeastern Europe are already collaborating to reach their clean energy goals. But what if that went even further? What if we had a global clean energy network?
Wow, that's a big idea. Imagine renewable energy flowing between continents, balancing out supply and demand, and powering the whole world with sustainable energy.
It sounds like something out of a movie.
It might sound futuristic, but we actually have the technology to do it. What we need is for countries to work together and make it a priority.
So it's not just about individual countries going green, it's about everyone coming together to create a sustainable future.
Exactly. And events like CISOLAR are a step in that direction. They bring people from all over the world together to share ideas, partner up, and work towards that shared goal.
It's encouraging to know there are so many people who want to create a better, cleaner future. It's not just a dream anymore, it's happening.
And that's worth celebrating.
Totally. Well, that brings us to the end of our CISOLAR and Green Battery 2024 Deep Dive. We hope you've enjoyed it and feel inspired to be a part of this clean energy revolution.
If you want to learn more about the event and dig deeper into the topics we discussed, head over to www.cisolar.org. And hey, maybe we'll see you at next year's event.
Yeah, maybe we will. That's all from us. Stay curious, stay involved, and keep talking about clean energy.
See you next time.